This is ACOFAE. Laura Marie and Jessica Marie proudly present A Court of Fandoms and Exploration, a podcast. Fair warning, everything the hosts say is explicit, full of spoilers and adult content and shall not be used against them. They have opinions. Let's try not to drag anyone for expressing themselves and just have fun for an hour. We all deserve it.
There are no spoilers in this episode surrounding Witches and Wine, but there are loose mentions of the contemporary mythos series by Carly Spade. For full list, please see show notes.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to A Court of Fandoms and Exploration, your weekly deep dive into the fantasy, literature, and fandoms that we love. I'm Laura Marie.
And I'm Jessica Marie.
And today we are welcoming back a very special guest, Carly Spade, to talk about her newest release, Witches and Wine.
Which is book one of the Mythical Mates of Arcane Cove series. Welcome back, Carly.
Welcome.
Hi, Carly Spade here, USA Today bestselling author of fantasy romance, I guess you'd say.
We are so excited to have you back on the podcast, Carly. Third time's a charm. We've had you here before. The last time that you were here, we were talking about your release, Love and Forge. And then the time before that, the Contemporary Mythos series, which you mentioned. And now we're here talking about Witches and Wine. So you have just like this huge mountain of work behind you, and everything is kind of interconnected, and we have characters kind of sprinkled through everything. So what I would like to know is, how does your new series kind of build off everything that you've written? And kind of on the other side of that, how was writing this series different from the others?
The first book in this series is connected to my Contemporary Mythos series with the characters that are featured, and I chose to do that so that my current readers kind of ease them into the new series. Beyond this first book, it is going to take a pretty big curve as far as it's going to be new characters, more than just Greek mythology, all kinds of different species and characters and all kinds of stuff. But I wanted to ease people in with this first book that are my current readers, and then hopefully bring in some new readers as well, obviously, with the monster romance side of things. So that's the whole point with the first book, was to have Dion and Chelsea. And it just kind of worked out because I had always wanted to give him horns, and I kind of hinted and alluded to that in some of the previous books. So it just all kind of made sense and fell into place. So.
Did you feel like it was an easy transition to start like a standalone world, yet still interconnected?
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, I love doing that. I love reading books like that as well, because sometimes I might not be in the mood for one of the next book coming up, or what have you. So I kind of want to do the same thing, to not make people feel like they have to read the entire series. Obviously, I want them to, but I don't want them to feel like they have to follow, an intricate. You have to read books 1, 2, 3 in this order. So I personally like reading that. And to me, if you're going to have a cozy anything, it should honestly, to me, it should be like that. Because if it's cozy, that means that you are mood reading, and you wanted to put it in a good mood, and maybe one book may not be the ticket as much as the other one in the series. The only thing that's a challenge with that is keeping track of everything. So with the Mythos series, it was only 6 books, but this is going to he's going to go beyond that for sure. So I am definitely already, I use the software called Plotter, and I'm keeping track of absolutely everything. Because even just from the first book, I've already forgotten stuff writing the second one. So
is Plotter something that you used with your other books too, or is it a newer program? Because I feel like we've discussed and chatted your books over the years because you have so many of them. Are you finding new resources as you continue to be a veteran writer?
Yes. I used to just use kind of Excel and just there's nothing wrong with that, but I wanted something. I'm not going to lie, I didn't want to have to set up my own spreadsheet again this time. I wanted something that was already laid out and specifically made for writing. And so I asked around to my author friends, and that seemed to be the major consensus was plotter. And it already has tabs for, places, and you can put all your places in, and then characters, and kind of say if it's main cast, supporting cast, not really labeled. And you can put the name of the person in there, and then descriptions. You can attach pictures if you have them, all kinds of stuff. So I thought it was definitely going to be necessary for this series, because I'm going to have so many, again, interconnected, a lot of different characters. I'm not going to remember their eye colors and things like that. So I'd really need to, as I go through the editing process, that's when I start putting everything in there. And that's what I did with the first book. And that's what I'll do with the second one too, and just kind of keep going from there. But otherwise, I have to actually make note of plot points too that I'm doing, and so I don't forget. You have to actually cover that at some point in one of the other books, so don't forget about it. So that's the only challenge, but I personally love it. It's just a little extra thing, but it just makes it really fun to me when series do that. So figured I'd do it too.
That's great.
Oh, that's so exciting. So this is a little bit of a genre shift for you. So why cozy romance? Because our tagline is like, we're feeling good. We are cozy here. So why are we shifting this way?
I kind of feel that the Mythos series is kind of cozy too, to be honest, because I kind of reference them as rom-coms. But I really wanted to. I've always actually had an interest in monster romance. Probably, what was it, 2015 when Ice Planet Barbarians came out. I read that before it was cool, I guess, if you want to call it. But I've always been interested in it, but people never really talked about it back then. Like, no, everybody was reading it, but nobody talked about it. And now in the past couple of years, more and more people are talking about monster romance, and they're being open about it. And it's not as taboo. And it's just this extra fun thing that people are actually, having conversations about. So I've always wanted to do it. I've just been really nervous because of the fact of, again, it was really taboo, and my mom and my mother-in-law read these books. And I didn't want that to hold me back anymore. So I really had a conversation with both of them and let them know that this is going to take a little bit of a dive from what you guys are used to, with the specific spicy scenes, especially. And so I said, you've been warned. If you still want to read it, go for it. But we're not talking about it, period. Just don't talk to me about it, because I don't want that to be in my head when I'm trying to write and holding me back from what I want to do. So I like the cozy small town magic monster romance series. I've read a ton of them, and I kind of wanted to put my own 2 cents into that type of a series, because I absolutely love them. And I, just like with my Mythos series, I wanted to do something different though. And so that's where the mythology portion comes in. I haven't really I don't think I've read any of them that mix mythology characters, but then also fairy tale and folklore characters. And so that's going to be my new Carly Spade spin on the genre, is adding those kind of elements in there. So
that is such a great answer. And that is such an amazing kind of spin that you're taking, and how fun and how exciting to be able to expand yourself creatively like that. And the freedom too of setting a boundary. Like, everybody's allowed to set boundaries and be like, this is my boundary. I want to be a little spicier, and I'm going to, and if you choose, that's on you. That's on you. We love that.
Do you find that your I don't want to say your new readers, but like your veteran readers, all of us who have been with you a part of these journeys, do you feel like a lot of us are asking for, we need you to make it spicier, we need you to amp the spice? Or are you finding like new readers are actually looking for that? Like, or is this just like a creative shift for you? You're like, this is what I want to explore. I want to also challenge myself.
Yeah, honestly, yes to all of that. I have found that a lot of readers, not only more spice, but I think that's why they're kind of, I mean, me too. I mean, even the monster romance side of things kind of gives you a unique perspective, obviously, because the people, it could be the female. It's most of the time it's the male. That's the character. That's the monster. But it just makes the scene's interesting, because you can read about two humans doing every position imaginable and all kinds of things. But when you have this character that's not human, and or even like maybe they have to like figure things out because they don't know about the, how each other work. Like it puts a unique perspective. And for me too, even as a writer, it can be challenging because obviously these things don't exist. So I have to make it up.
You can't use like a Barbie and Ken doll like you typically would.
Exactly. So it's a fun challenge. And I look forward to every single book that I know it's coming. How am I going to make those scenes unique? And it's exciting for me because I think that's why even with the Mythos series, with each of the gods, how would they do things? How are they going to use their powers for those scenes specifically? It's always a treat for me when I get there, because then I get to sit there and, okay, well, how is this going to work? And I think that's why monster romances, like I said, become so popular, because readers are just looking for something different. Even just beyond, the dark romances and everything like that. I think that's why that's popular as well, because some of those particular scenes are still kind of taboo and it's different. So I think my current readers, some of them might, I've told on all my groups and everybody, I told them just be prepared for this. This is what this series is. So they're prepared, and I just, if they don't want to read those scenes, that's completely, obviously their prerogative, but I told them already, this is going to go a little bit down. I'm advertising all over the place as a monster romance series because I don't want people to get steered wrong because of what they're used to from before. So,
well, I think that's also speaks to the marketing, because I feel like sometimes books can be marketed one way and you go into it with a certain level of expectation. And then when the book is like, look, it's a great book, but the way it was marketed, I went into this with a whole different other mentality. And so like the fact that it coincides and how it's been pushed and everyone's excited and it's a new, it's the challenge and the adventure. And there's a level of escapism once you're going into it too.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Some things though stay wonderfully consistent, and that's on you as a writer, because I know, having read all of your books, that when our character here is dancing to our wonderful music and making all of these shop names, I love the shop names that you make. You know that's one of my favorite little things. So going into this was wonderful because it is new and it is just like a breath of fresh air. Honestly, it's just like, wow. And look what you can do, this wonderful creative thing that you've made, but also your stamps are there to show that this is a Carly Spade book, and I'm going to show you why, because boom, boom, boom. And I know that we have some familiar characters, but we also have the shop names. We have our wonderful small town. So this is spoiler free, but we can talk about our town a bit. Why don't you take us through the creation of Arcane Cove and for your new release, which is in mine?
So Arcane Cove, and I kind of wanted to have, I didn't want to have any humans. I'm not going to lie. I just didn't want to deal with them anymore. I just wanted to have fun and have all the characters have magic or be, a different species. I just wanted to have fun and not have to worry about it. And I wanted a place that doesn't exist. So again, I could just have fun and just establish it and not have to worry about looking up, okay, I've never been to Scotland, so let's look this up. I didn't want to have to do it. I just want to be able to sit here and just use my brain and just make stuff up as I go along. And so I decided that there was going to be wards up that prevent, people from coming in that do not have magic in their veins. So humans quite literally don't even know that it exists, because they would just walk right through it and it looks like the woods essentially. And so that is what I kind of get. That was my thing for saying, I don't want to deal with humans. No, but they're not going to be in there. And I don't care that this is like a place of refuge for people. They don't even have to live there necessarily. They could just go hang out there if they just want to relax and not have to worry about hiding themselves. And everybody, can kind of, they get along for the most part, even if they're considered villains, quote unquote. So that was something that I've always kind of wanted to explore too, because Disney kind of explores aspects like that as well, as far as having villains kind of actually in a certain scenario kind of be copacetic with the heroes. And so I kind of wanted to explore that too, and what that would look like with mythology characters and fairy tale characters and whatnot. And other places have done it too, like Once Upon a Time and shows and different things like that have done that kind of too. And I wanted to explore that myself. And I definitely went through a lot of different names as far as what I settled on. I was trying to pick a name that meant something to do with magic. And I ended up with Arcane because of that one show that was on Netflix. And I really like that. I just like the sound of it. And I went through a bunch of, like, is it Grove? Is it Cove? Is it, Plaza? I don't know. I just went through a bunch of combinations, and then I threw it to some of my author friends, and that was the one that got voted the most. So I stuck with it.
I love it. And our characters here are Chelsea and Dion. So why did we decide to start with Chelsea and Dion?
So, one, a lot of my readers after Aries really liked me hinting at them. I never said that they were going to officially, but I gave a pretty big hint. So a lot of my readers, wanted to see it happen. And I actually even put out a poll to my groups saying, if you could see, any type of species or any type of characters in this series, who would you want to see? And actually, a lot of people voted on Dionysus. I was really surprised. I had not announced what the book was going to be or anything, and I said, okay, well, apparently I got this one right. But I did start with them because, again, they were going to be an ease in for my current readers, and it feels familiar to them. So they can kind of be like, okay, this is familiar. I like this. And even with the monster aspect, I'm going to be easing people into that, even myself. It's going to get more and more and more like I'm, saving like a gargoyle or some other like really full blown monster for a little bit so I can ease myself into this too and kind of get used to the new flavor, so to speak. As well as my readers too, because again, the monster aspect is not something they're used to from me. So I kind of I don't want to just throw them into the fire. I want them to ease in with me. So,
well, I think you set it up perfectly because you have a god that everybody's familiar with and everybody wants to hear Dionysus' story. I think there's I don't want to say that it's taboo, but you're always interested. I think it's always interesting for so many of us who love Greek mythology, where you're like, you have the god of wine and festivities and, extracurricular activities. What is he going to get into? And how can you tame the beast, in the lack of a better word? And you have Chelsea here, who I love that. And I feel like we spoke about this probably in the first time we spoke with, the Contemporary Mythos series, is you do a great job with establishing female friendships and their importance. And so, of course, it's like natural that even when we were reading those, you want all of the best friends in those scenarios to be like, all right, now we want more. And that's where you even said, you're like, this is the one that everybody was like, okay, but can we get this story first? Because even right off the bat, if you're a new reader, you're like, okay, you're asking yourself like, well, who's Harmony? But you make it in a way that, and I think this is just a testament to, again, your writing where you want the people to be engulfed in the current book. And then you're like, okay, but what else has Carly written? Let me go through all of her other books now too, to understand the foundational work, but you don't feel like you're missing out if you haven't read it just yet.
Yeah. No, absolutely. That's, I tried my best because I knew bringing in Chelsea and it's establishing that she's already aware of all this, all the magic and the mythology is real. And I knew I couldn't just say that and just expect new readers to understand, like, well, why does she know all this stuff? So I tried my best to really, and I knew I was going to have to bring in some other characters for it to all kind of meld together. And there's a reason why with Eros he's mentioned, but I didn't want to muddy it too much because this is also, he's already had his book. It's time for other people, so that's why I didn't want to do too much. So I was trying to be, and I was with even Apollo and stuff too. I was just really trying not to mention too much and kind of leave it open so that current readers know his deal, and new readers wouldn't be confused if I put too much in there. So I really tried hard to make it so that Chelsea already knows about this stuff, and this is why. And then now we're going to move on. Moving on. So.
Well, and we're moving on to a new town, a new story. It's a love story, obviously. This is a love story. This is Fated Mates, right? This is like, yes, we love this. So we know where we're going. We know where we're going to end up, but it's the journey that is just the gems here. And of course, our spicy scenes, which I am proud of you for being able to have these at this level. So I'm sure you're proud of yourself, and I'm sure you have such a strong support system, like really cheering you on, because like truly this is a pleasure to read, especially now in like 2025 when we're all trying to survive. This is just a wonderful place to turn and to really immerse yourself in. And what we're immersing ourselves in are one of my favorite characters is our little Sheriff Herb, and I love him. Just this unexpected, just like old timey, like love it. And populating your town with all of these characters. And of course, I mentioned the shop names, but we have a 24-hour bakery. We have a smoking addiction. We love that. I mean, real talk, that's our queen. And it is wonderful to really dig in and experience this.
Oh, awesome. Awesome. I'm glad to hear it. I'm excited too, because I know you said about bringing up the business names, but that's always a fun thing for me too. And it's really fun to use in my marketing and get stickers or a coaster for the nightclub, like type stuff, like to make it seem real. And I've always even enjoyed when other authors do that too. So I just wanted to keep that going because it is a lot of fun. And I guess that with as far as just the atmosphere, I kind of just wanted to make it again a little bit. It's familiar to people that are familiar with the small town kind of romance vibes of the magical, I should say, not just small town romance. But I also wanted to make it a little bit different. And I think the business thing is also kind of with cozy romances and what have you. That seems to also be something that's almost expected. So I'm really glad that I was already doing it. But it's definitely, it's fun. And there's going to be a lot more fun businesses. I was trying not to throw them all in the first book. I'm trying to spread them out, but
did you write in a 24-hour bakery because you personally wish there was a 24-hour bakery? Because I did. And I was like, what is the closest thing to, like, where would a 24-hour bakery exist? And I was like, well, I know Paris, like they have baguettes at all times, but they probably have like a short window that to close down the shop so they can build up everything. But I was like, in my head, I was like, I want one of those too. Right across the street from you. That would have been the selling point. She's like, the price point, this apartment is great. But more importantly, there's a 24-hour, like that would have been the selling point. And I think there was a place in Boulder that we passed recently, Laura, where you're like, oh, if I was in that apartment right above there, that would be, it was a dumpling place. We were like, that would just
Yeah. No, I actually did. I've always loved when they throw bakeries into romances. And so I definitely wanted to have that aspect too. But I also thought about the fact that there's all these different types of species in this town, and some of them are nocturnal, like vampires. My vampires are going to be like they cannot walk around during the day. So I was like, they need bakery goods too. So Sylvie was very, considerate and made sure that it was 24 hours so they all can enjoy their baked goods.
An equal opportunist. We love that.
Exactly.
So we're talking about, monster romance because that's where we're at here. So we've talked about like, the taboo behind it, and there's like a fan fiction side of it. And, there's all of this stuff kind of wrapped up into it. Has this always like kind of been your interest? And building on that, do you have like a specific like subsect of monster that you just like really love? Like you mentioned gargoyles. I was like, gosh, I really do like gargoyles. Like, you don't hear about them a lot, but I mean, they're really awesome. That TV show growing up was amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. Yes. I've always, there's a video game called Mass Effect. And I think that's also another area where, again, everybody, their most popular character to romance was one that in the first game was not available, but people wanted to be able to romance this one alien guy. And they were very shocked, the developers. They were like, really? You want to? Oh, okay. So they made it possible in the second and third games, and they also threw in, some more, and those became the most popular characters for both, male and female people to romance. And so it's clearly a thing, and it's just something different. And the dialogue is all unique because, again, you play a human. So if you are romancing an alien, it becomes this whole thing like, well, how do we make this work? And they do research, and it's all really sweet because you actually looked how to please me and like different things like that. And so I think I've always even vampires themselves, they're monsters. I mean, they're not humans, and they have fangs and they drink blood and all kinds of, different things. And werewolves, of course, have always been there too. And I think with me, again, this is kind of me just thinking back, well, how did I get here? And Beauty and the Beast was another one because I did not want him to change to that prince.
No, well, neither did Belle because Beast turned to Adam real quick, and she was like, really? I'm not sure if I'm feeling this anymore.
Yeah. I was like, could you at least grow out a beard?
We were like, the pipeline was there the entire time for people who get into Monster.
Also kind of on the flip side of that, Robin Hood Fox, just kind of, as long as we're
yeah, and I was for Ninja Turtles too. I mean, like I always had my Barbie get with my Michelangelo Ninja Turtle. Like it was just like, I mean, like it's always been there. It's just I never really thought about it, and then it just makes sense to me why it's so popular with people. Because it's always been there. And I think it's just, again, where people just weren't talking about it. They were grabbing the books, they're reading them, and then be like, okay, well, I'm not going to tell anybody I just read that, but I liked it. So it's like, and now
it's like a secret club. It honestly feels like a secret club. And it's only become popular because we have the community. We're starting to feel safe in the communities that we've created with reading and monster romance. And just like in every genre of romance, because I feel like even fantasy romance was very like under the radar too. Like you read it and it wasn't I mean, you have media outlets picking it up as part of their day to day now, which is kind of crazy when the furthest you could really get to have media outlets talk about fantasy was Game of Thrones. And that was it. And that was more plot and not the romance that, meanwhile, it is a bigger conversation of like women lead the economy if they would just let us do everything else. But I think book sales and these conversations and these genres is another testament of what we get to explore, and we are driving the narrative.
Yep. No, absolutely. I think that is definitely the case. And the fact that there's even conventions specifically now to, like, I think they just started popping up this last year, specifically devoted to monster romance, and that's it. And the fact that that's actually happening and they're selling out and there's so many people going to them, it makes me feel really good, to be quite honest with you. And I will tell you too that I'm kind of edging in and trying to rub elbows with the monster romance authors and kind of being like, hey, I'm trying to kind of come into your world here. And they're so incredibly nice. Like even just they're all like, come on, it's really fun over here. Yeah, let's do this. And so every single one of them I've talked to, because I reached out to a bunch because we're going to be doing a giveaway on Instagram the week my book releases. And all of them were so really, really nice, even the ones that couldn't do it. And but yeah, they're like, well, yeah, welcome aboard. It's really fun here. So just even the authors, like everybody's just really awesome. And I'm not saying that other genres don't have it, but it just feels more I don't know what's the word I'm looking for, but it just feels tighter or something like that. It's just, this is more of a tight knit group, I guess, of people, and they're just all really nice. It's awesome.
No, but I think that's just, again, a level to the community of being like, sometimes you're just in it, and sometimes you slowly get introduced to it, and it's very much we're welcome to the club. Like we don't bite because of all the stigmas that like surround these conversations. Like you said, you read Ice Planet Barbarians. quote unquote, before it was cool, but like people don't know how to have those conversations without you're like, how do we approach this? Meanwhile, you think, but it's so funny because you have Star Wars that's been around since the 1970s and Dune before that. And you have interspecies relationships have been there all the time, but but that was a boy world. It was okay because it was boy life, or that was the the audience that was that driving force. But but to hear that it's just been like, hey, I'm new, but like it's always been a passion of mine. Thank you. Like it makes the whole transition and process so much easier because you're like, you get it. Come over here. Like it's great.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that is the thing is because I was like, hey, so I'm not a new author, but I'm new to this and I'm trying to, get in on this thing because I really like it and I've always liked it. And it's even, to the point where when I read that Ice Planet Barbarians, my face flushed because I was like, okay, I actually like that. And I was like, nobody knew. I didn't tell a soul. I had it on my Kindle, and when I read it, I took it off my Kindle because I was like, I don't even want anybody anybody looked at my Kindle. But I was just like, oh my gosh. And then so when people started talking about it, I was like, oh, that's that book that I read like 5 years ago. Holy crap. And so it was just so cool that so many people are talking about it. And then it just gradually became a thing. And so, I'm very thankful. And I'm glad that I finally figured out where I wanted to go, because I will tell you guys, honestly, there's a couple of years I really just didn't know what direction I was going to go. I love of Love and Forge. I love of Magic and Rum, Lords of the Underworld. I was kind of trying to figure out things, and nothing was just sticking. Even with me, nothing was sticking. So I sat down. I was like, I really have to figure out a new series. I want to start a new series. I want to explore beyond just Greek mythology. I love Greek mythology, but there's so many other things to talk about. And so I came up with this, and that is I was like, what about monster romance? It's getting really popular. People are talking about it. I've always wanted to write it. I love reading it. And so I am so glad that I finally figured out something to do. And I've got at least 12 ideas right now. So I have no plans to stop the series until I'm done. But yeah, I'm really glad. It's relief, to be honest with you.
You were talking about finding yourself, and you have found yourself in this new series, and the joy that finding yourself kind of brought to you through exploring all of this. And that, without any spoilers, because that's not what we're doing here, is a huge theme of your new release, Witches and Wine, is finding yourself and accepting yourself for who you are. And something that I really love is that you explored this theme not only through our female main character, Chelsea, but also through Dion. Like, everybody kind of goes through their own, kind of lack of confidence, build up, lack of confidence, and kind of like accepting, finding who you are, and then discovering that you're stronger together. It's not two pieces make a whole. It's that like we're just this huge, strong thing together, but we can each stand on our own because we're our own person. It's wonderful. A credit to you, obviously. But this journey that you kind of went on is kind of reflected here in your book. And I'm wondering if that's intentional or it's just kind of where the characters took you.
Kind of both. Honestly, I have always loved the types of relationships, and of course I have it myself with my husband, where you're two separate people, but when you come together, you're like this fighting force, essentially, because you build each other up, you support each other, you kind of fill in those gaps that we all have flaws. And so I like when two people come together and they're able to fill in those gaps of the flaws of the other person, and then also uplift the stuff that we're good at and support that, and really just do everything you can to build up the other person. And so that's why I've always loved the idea of fated mates, because to me, and then especially when you throw the magical aspect into it, it becomes, they really become yin and yang, and they are amazing alone. But then when they come together, they do become a powerful force because it's magical, and they really help each other to figure each other out, and they fill in those gaps. And so my husband's been really supportive through this whole, like I said, the couple of years here that I've been really struggling, and it's been some tears and a lot of hugs. And so he's been my rock. And so I just kind of wanted to explore that. And there's definitely some there in Chelsea with her anxiety and him trying to support her to come down from that and telling her to relax. All that stuff definitely hits home for me too, because it's just, I don't want any of my characters to be perfect ever, or ever even pretend like even magical beings are perfect. Everybody has flaws, and I never want to say that they don't. So I think it just makes it more personable when they fail, even at times. And so you're able to explore that. And these are romances, clearly, but I still want to be able to say, that guy is not perfect, she's not perfect, but then when they get together, they really help support each other. And I would still say they're not perfect, but they give the illusion of perfection together because they help to support those things where the other person might be lacking. So
I am very much interested in the fact that not only, again, a credit to you as a writer, not only is this a love story, not only is this the launch of this new universe, not only are we being immersed into the world of Arcane Cove, which I'm going to use the word adorable, but it just makes me so happy. Like it's just like warm, cozy feelings, right? Like I want to go to there. That's kind of what it is. But on the back burner of this first book that you have, there is a little bit of a mystery going on. There is something going on. There are characters that are kind of being looked at a little bit more, and there is I'm going to say a slight crime that happens because there's a little bit of a mystery. That's just because I love Herb so much. We got to make him work. And I adore him. So, we have all of this going on, kind of building. I am assuming, and of course, you know what they say when you assume, but I'm going to be safe here, that these are all seeds that will be, kind of harvested later on in your series. So I'm going to ask you very selfishly, is there anything that you can tell us about book 2? What is going on there, if anything, and where you are in your writing process?
So I think book 2 is going to surprise some people because it's probably not going to be what you're expecting. But I will say that book 2 has somebody that was in book 1. That's all I'll say. I'm not going to mention who the other person is, but there's at least one person that is in book 1 for book 2. But it's going to probably surprise people. I am selfishly writing what I want to, when I want to. So I'm just being honest. So I'm saying that most of the people that you see within the series are going to get their own book at some point, but I'm writing with what I feel the most passionate for at the moment. And I think it's, for me as an author, because I'm an indie author, I can do that. I don't have to answer to, somebody saying, no, you have to release these books in this order and you have to write these now. So the fact that I have that advantage, it's going to come out in my writing if I'm writing the one that I'm passionate about at the moment. And I already know even what the third book's going to be, because I have to write it. But as far as, I'm sorry, I forget what the second part of your question was. I know. Is the writing process any different? Because you're starting this new series. Yeah, and as far as the writing process too. So yes, I have to basically, as soon as I'm done, like for instance, Witches and Wine hasn't even come out yet, but I'm already over here fangirling about the second book because I'm writing it. So I really have to try to make sure I focus. I got to still market the other book. Don't forget about it. So all my passions right now are in the second book. But I basically, as soon as I send off one book to be formatted, I give myself a week break and then I dive into the next one, because I'm trying to do potentially a 2 to 3 month release until I have at least maybe 6 of them out.
Oh, wow.
Because I want people to be able to binge it. Everybody loves doing it. I understand it. And so I hope to have at least 6 by the end of next year, 5 to 6 by the end of next year, so that there is enough for people to binge. And then I can kind of take a step back for a little, maybe do, 4 to 5 months or something like that. But that's my goal. And that's why it's essential for me to write the ones that I'm really passionate about for those first, so that I can get them out faster. So yeah, it's a different process, but I did that with the Mythos series too. I definitely was basically writing them back to back until it was done. Sometimes it's stressful, but it's fun.
I feel like I remember with the Mythos series that I feel like we've been it was just every other day. We were flying through the books. But then even from what you're sharing with us, you're writing these books that you're so passionate about because the juices are just like the creative juices are just flowing. We have book one hasn't even been released yet at the time of our discussion, and you're already in the middle of book two, like, invested in there and already thinking of book three. So you're like, wait, I can't forget this one storyline. So you have like, you have the one, the murder board meme that's out there. But I feel like you have like three going on at once right now.
Yeah, kind of. Because I basically keep Pinterest boards for myself. It's funny to mention board, but I do keep a Pinterest board for each book. And I already have, I think, 5 different boards for the first 5 books because I want to know in my head before I start writing what they're going to look like, because then it helps me visualize scenes more when I have, and not all authors do this, but I'm just a very mind visual person. And so when I'm writing, I really have to be able to see it in my head. And it helps if I have a reference for what they look like. So I find the closest that I can as far as sometimes it's an actor, sometimes it's artwork that I find randomly on Pinterest or things like that. And then I have my artist then create the rendition from what I like. It's a hodgepodge of things. Like, here's these 3 people, put them together, and that's what I need. And so I actually like to get the artwork commissioned ahead of time so that I can have that for myself, along with the Pinterest boards. But I have to have a playlist and I have to have a Pinterest board so that when I'm ready to move on to the next book, I'm already building up book 3 right now too, so that when I'm ready, I can just move on and just be immersed because I already have the Pinterest board, I have the playlist, let's go. So, so that's basically, again, how I did the Mythos series, and it seems to be working pretty good with this one so far too.
Do you have a lot of fun building those playlists, or is it like a stressful kind of thing? Like, you got to get it right.
It's fun. I love building Spotify playlists. And honestly, Spotify is great because they'll have these Discover Weekly things that come up every week, and then like Release Radar, and they know all the people that I'm interested in hearing. And I definitely end up, as I'm listening, I was like, oh, that could go for this book. Oh, that would be good for this one. And I just basically add them to different playlists. So it's not really stressful. I kind of build it up as I'm just listening at work. So I just listen to music and I add them to playlists as I'm doing my day job. And I definitely never really stress. It's just a fun thing for me. And actually it's relaxing because I love the fact that I know I have a playlist sitting there waiting for me when I'm ready to write whatever book. So
that's fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is fun. And your joy and your passion is contagious, honestly. I'm sitting here in awe of your schedule and of your week break. I hope you really take time to decompress during that week break. My gosh, between projects. But again, when the juices are flowing, you got to get them out. Like, why would you do anything else? That is just wonderful. And again, a credit to you as a writer. Wonderful. Jess, that is all I have. What about you?
No, same. I'm just really excited that we get another series to look forward to, that we get to binge, because like I said, it was just like one after the other. I know we were able to read it through audio too. And it's just so exciting. It's so exciting. And more importantly, I'm excited for you because your passion and your excitement is just coming through so much. You're like, we all go through those times where you're just like, I'm going through the motions, but it's just not hitting, even though you're doing everything right. And like what Laura said, like, your joy and your passion is contagious, and you can tell that you are in that place with this series.
I appreciate that. I really do. Like I said, it was a rough to get here, but I definitely feel really good about it, and I haven't been able to say that confidently. I've said it, but it was just to say it, and I've never been able to say it confidently until this series. But I have a very good feeling about this, and I'm really looking forward to digging into the new genre and seeing what this brain could come up with. So
yeah, and again, it's just beginning because you have opened the door to a whole different world where there are no limits.
Yep. Yes, absolutely. And I think that's the part that makes me so excited, because I purposely did this so that I can just go, wild with it and just see where it takes me. And I've done everything I possibly can to make this a playground for myself and where I can just play.
Well, thank you so much, Carly, for taking the time. Where can everybody find you, find this book, find anything about you? Tell us all of your information.
So I have a website, carlyspade.com. So you can find everything there. I'm also on Instagram and TikTok and X, which is not really, but yeah, TikTok and Instagram is the best places to find me social media wise. I am on Facebook, but most of my posts are on Instagram and TikTok. So if you really want to see teasers and all that kind of build up, that's where you go. As far as where you can get my books, the ebook is through Amazon. All my books go on Kindle Unlimited, so this one will be on there when it releases as well. And paperbacks, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Blackwell's, any pretty much major online retailer will have them. And you can buy them direct from me as well, signed with some awesome artwork and swag. I do it through Etsy. I also do it through TikTok Shop now. So you can get stuff from me either place. And hopefully audiobooks for this series, we'll see. But the audiobooks for Mythos are all 6. And then hopefully this one, I'm really crossing my fingers that these will be on audio too. So
again, that's so exciting. I'm using the word selfishly. I'm selfishly so excited that I am able to dive into this. I am so happy for you, just like personally, that you have really found your niche and that you are feeling strong and confident, because we are women and hear us roar and all of that shit, because goddamn, we deserve good things. We deserve joy, and we deserve to read what we want when we want. And thank you, Carly, for contributing to this wonderful new genre that you have given us.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for joining us, Carly, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks so much.
Bye.
Bye.
And please make sure you're following Carly on all of her socials. We'll make sure those are in our show notes. And of course, please feel free to follow us on ours. We're at ACOFAE Podcast on Instagram. We're also both on TikTok, ACOFAE Laura and ACOFAE Jessica. Thanks so much, and we'll talk to y'all soon. Bye.